Hi, welcome to section 13.2. These are some of the preliminary notes for 13.2. We're going to start off with a theorem that says that the equation of a circle, and I'm underlining in yellow so you know it's got to be written in your theorems page, has a center at HK, a radius R, if the equation is, and this is the equation. You need to make sure you get the equation also memorized. So this is a pattern, and what you have to do is be able to fill out the pattern. If I were to have, for example, an equation that looked like, let me pick a nice pretty one that'll fit pretty. X minus 2 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals 36. If I wanted to know what the center was, I know my center, my x part of my center comes from this number, which would be 2, because the minus goes with the formula. And my k number comes from this one, which would be 4, because the minus goes with the formula. And my radius is equal to, has a center at 2, 4, and a radius of 6, because that's the square root of that number. So over here, if I wanted to graph it, I'd just go to 2, 4, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then a radius of 6 means I go out 6 in each direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then all I have to do is connect my dot in the shape of a circle. It's not going to be perfect, but there it is. And that is this circle. It has a center of 2, 4, and a radius of 6. Well, you also need to be able to go from the circle to write the equation. So here we know it has a center at 1, 2, 3, negative 3, 2. Has a center of negative 3, 2. Trying to get my hand out of the way for you. And its radius is just 1. So if I wanted to write the equation, it would look like x minus negative 3, so that's the same thing as x plus 3, squared plus y minus 2 squared equals 1 squared is 1 times 1, which is just 1. So this equation matches up with that circle. And this equation matches up with that circle. Now your book is going to give you equations and want to know the center and the radius. And then on a couple of them, they might give you the equation and want you to graph it, like I just did over here. And then on some of them, it's going to give you the center and the radius and wants you to find the equation. So I'm looking on page 543. And I'm looking at the classwork exercises. Sorry, at the class exercises. I thought I'd do a couple of those with you. So number 2 says x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared is equal to 100. They want to know what the center is. So since this has a 0 here, that means my center is at 0, and there's a 0 here, so that's the point 0, 0, or the origin. And my radius is going to equal the square root of whatever that number is. So that's going to be a radius of 10. That was all they wanted. For number 3, it has x squared plus y squared is equal to 4. That makes my center, well, this one doesn't have anything subtracted from it. So that's the same thing as it looking like this over here. So my center is going to be at 0, and the same thing with the y, so at 0, 0, and my radius is going to equal 2, because the square root of 4 is 2. And then for number 4, it says x minus 5 squared plus y squared equals 9. No parentheses there. So my center is going to be at positive 5 and at 0, because there's nothing added or subtracted to that, which means my radius is going to equal 3. Let's look at number 7. It says x plus 7 squared plus y minus 8 squared is equal to 80. So my center is going to be at a negative 7, because we've got to be able to make it a negative so that it's like our pattern. So it's really saying the opposite of that number is what our h is. So the opposite of a positive 7 is a negative 7. The opposite of a negative 8 is a positive 8. And then my radius is going to equal the square root of 80. But you know we can't leave it like that. So that's the square root of 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 5. So 2 sets of 2's come out, which gives me a 4 on the outside, 4 square roots of 5 for my radius. And then for number 10, I don't think they'll have you graph this one because it's hard to figure out what 4 square roots of 5 is on a straight line. So I don't think you need to worry about being able to graph that one. They might ask you to graph ones like this. So if I were going to graph this, I'd go to 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, and then it has a radius of 3. So 1, 2, 3 out, 1, 2, 3 up, 1, 2, 3 back, 1, 2, 3 down. And then you just make it look like a circle. And it's called sketching for a reason. Doesn't have to be perfect. Number 10. They want us to write an equation this time. Let me move it up some. Number 10 says that it has a center at 2, 3, and the radius is equal to 4. So that has x minus this number squared plus y minus that number squared equals this number squared. 4 times 4 is 16. Number 11 says that the center is at -2, -3. and the radius is equal to 7. So it would be x minus that number squared plus y minus that number squared is equal to that number squared. That's 49. Now, you can rewrite this as x plus 2 because you know a minus and negative is the same thing as a plus. And y plus 3. Which leads us to the really hard part. Still on page 543, your classwork is practice exercises. You've graduated a little bit. Numbers 2, 6, 10, and 14. And then your homework same practice exercises, numbers 4, 8, 12, and 16. And you'll see me the next time you come. Bye.